was hard for me, and I'm kind of still in that position. I'm walking between two cultures, and sometimes it's like I'm between two lives. I'm a person in my family, and I'm another person with my friends, with I'm more open to than I'm with my family. It's two lives actually.
I'm from Iran. I'm studying psychology here at Rotterdam. I guess because people here are experiencing a great deal of freedom, they can't even have this image in their mind that in some other countries there are people who can't have this freedom, this independence that I guess people here have. Like they can choose if they want to study or if they just don't want to go to university, or they want to work or they want to travel. I don't have it. There are, yeah, a lot of other Iranian girls or boys that have it. I didn't have it at that moment, so I just gave up and did what I felt my family is more supportive of it, and maybe I felt that yeah, they know better. 3 or 4 months that I'm here, so I can't be sure about anything. I feel like there are some discriminations still in here because I'm Muslim. I'm from Iran, that no one has a good image of it. So it's not like no one treat you in a bad way, but I feel like yeah, it's not like I belong here. You have this feeling that you have your history with yourself. For sure, there are huge differences. One of the things that catches my eye actually is the fact that people show their love explicitly, so like in the street or in the tram or the train. That's completely new to me because even when you are with your wife or your husband, you don't show your love or feelings like in the public places. In Iran, it's more you feel the pressure that comes from the society that you should be always at your best when you are out of home. Depends on the city you come from, the family you come from. But for example, in the capital, it's not that traditional society. But still, there are some areas that you feel, oh, here I should be more careful about what I'm wearing or with whom I'm walking. A lot of my worries are gone. And it's not like I didn't know I have these worries until I came here on, because no one stares at you, no one looks at you that makes you gives you the feeling that oh, maybe it was a wrong choice. But the funny thing is that I had no idea that I have these worries and I have these thoughts every time that I am out of the home, out of my, you know, safe circle. But when I just came here and then I felt it, when everything was gone, then I started feeling, oh, like how much worries I had before. There's always this thinking that, yeah, what others are gonna think about you. But here no one knows me, so I don't have that concern anymore. I was so shocked about is that the university, they encourage you to have more relationship with other people. That's the thing that you don't get in Iran. Like they don't want you to make committees or friends because they are afraid of what will happen if you are too united. So they don't like it at all. But here, like in the first day in the introduction day, the principal of the university was encouraging us to go to the bar and meet other students. Like, oh my god, that's new. Like they actually prepare some activities so you can know your people from your program. They are really putting an effort for doing it. So I think up to some point about studying, women are trying to get back their rights. But when it comes to the moment that they need to use it, they just give up because it's easier to be a traditional woman. When it comes to using what you study, so it means working, they just give up and just marry, and then they don't work because it's easier, you know. Who wants to work if are sure that your husband's gonna pay the rent and there's no worry. So they just give up at the moment that they have to use all these efforts that they had done. No matter how much I talk about differences that I feel here, they can't even imagine that image because they've never been in front, like confronted with that situation.
I was born in Turkey, Istanbul, and I'm living in Germany, Nuremberg right now, and study architecture here. I feel still more Turkish, I guess, because I was raised up with this cultural things, and I always had to ask my mom if I wanted to go out. If she said no, it's no. I couldn't go. And I know in German families, they don't have a lot of discussions like that. Of course, there are also families who don't allow their children everything, but it's not as strict as in our culture. Yes, I always ask my family about what they think, so I think they have a strong impact on my decisions, but I know that if I don't do what they tell me and do my own decision, they will still be by my side and support me. For example, I studied law before, and I studied because my parents wanted it. It turned out that it's not what I want to do in my life, and I decided to study architecture. At first, they were not very happy about it, but it was my decision, so they supported me. The people care too much about the thoughts of others, of other families. I don't know, in our culture, the people like to talk a lot behind your back, and I think because of that, they need to be very strict to protect their own name. The women has to stay at home, so the parents always want their girls to marry a good guy, for example, with a good career or something, and for this, it's very important that the girl has a good reputation. A good reputation is when she's not drinking alcohol, for example, not smoking, when she's not going out too much, when she's coming home early, and when she's helping out at home in the family, when she can cook very good and clean the house. And of course, they still don't want the girls to be dumb, but they don't want them to be very high educated as well. No, I don't have prejudice against the Western culture because when I came here, I was 2 years old, so grew up here, and that's why I think I don't have prejudice against the Western culture because I learned it in the kindergarten, in school, everything. But my family, for example, they always say that European people are very relaxed in everything they do, and that, for example, women are, they do whatever they want and they don't care about what other people think. It's not like that in our culture because, as we said, the reputation is very important. I would say that there's a gap in Turkey, not just in comparison to Europe, but in their own country, because we have the small villages, which are very traditional, very religious, and we have, for example, bigger cities, Ankara, Istanbul, in which the people are more open minded and more liberate than in the smaller villages. It's very hard for women to study or to apply to a university or something, and it's easier for men. Also, the female has to take care of the children or to cook or, yeah, things like that. So, the traditional picture of a typical housewife. I think the people are afraid that women will know too much and will make her own career and will be independent. I think that the Turkish people who came to Germany, they came at a time when the Turkish people were not very open-minded and they lived in their traditions. Somehow I feel like that Turkish people in Germany are still holding on to this tradition. Meanwhile, in Istanbul, the people are very open-minded and getting more liberate. I think that in Germany, the people are not that modern as they behave or as they act to be. I think the Turkish people try to be more modern in Turkey. They want to be more European, but they still have this conflict. They still don't want to lose their traditions. And of course, the religion is still very important to a lot of them. So I think it's conflict in their own culture because they really try to be very open minded and sometimes it doesn't suit with the tradition. I think it's very important to them to hold on to in the future also. So that's why they have a big trouble in getting more liberate. I was still able to do anything, and my mom pushed me very hard to do school, and because of this, I guess I'm very lucky. But I know families where the girls have limits and they can't do anything they want, or the parents don't support them in things they don't want the children to experience.
I'm from northern Iraq, but I'm living in Germany since I was 7 years old. I'm studying to become a teacher for history and German in Bamberg. Going to school was kind of the same. I wouldn't say I saw that difference at first because I was a kid. The first thing I saw was like the difference between the countries, the language, the infrastructure, and stuff like that. But when I became older, I had barriers. My family told me not to go on school trips because women weren't allowed to, or girls weren't allowed to in our families. And that was like the first thing I felt, okay, I'm not as the others. They can do whatever they want, and I'm not. And in my teenage years, it was like much bigger. But my family also changed, I think, through the years. So it got better. In some stuff, they're still strict and they're holding to the culture, and it's not something bad. It's still a difference between man and woman, of course. There's not the same rights, even if they say it's so, even if it's there in the law. It's still not the same for some people, or for the most of them. I would even say that people in Iraq are more modern as some people in Europe, because they have still the same thinking of when they came to Germany. And people in Iraq, they made a process, they changed. And those who came to Germany thinking they have new stuff from Western, but they are so afraid of losing their old culture, they kind of hold to it. As nice things the culture has, it also has that big problem with women. And even if the law completely changes for the favor of women, it will never be the same for women and men. Because it's stuck in their heads for hundreds and hundreds of years. They will never change. I don't believe that. As free as my brothers free as they think I should be, they never ever say I'm free as they are in my decisions and in my life. So even if my brothers are very open minded and they live here for ages, it's still something in their head they grew up with, and it won't change. It was hard for me, and I'm kind of still in that position. I'm walking between two cultures, and sometimes it's like I'm between two lives. I'm a person in my family, and I'm another person with my friends, with I'm more open to than I'm with my family. It's two lives actually. I worked hard to get what I want with my family, and I made big changes. I mean, I live alone. I have my own life. No one is controlling me. I do whatever I want. When I started to want things for myself and not to do things to impress or to obey my family, being more free, decisions like moving out, like studying what I want, like dressing like I want to. That was something I had to discover, and I hadn't that before. That I was making a big change in my life when I quit studying law, and I found myself for the first time. I did things I wanted to do. I think that's very important for people from my country and from my cultural background to finally do what they want. I think the biggest problem is that people even aren't honest to themselves. They always try to impress others. Doesn't matter if it's their parents, their brothers and sisters, or any other family member, friends, neighbors, whatever. They try to look good for them. And that's the biggest problem, I think. And if they only would try to obey their own feelings, they would be much happier and they would kind of feel free. That's a change I also did.